Alright guys, what's up? Welcome to this week's Ringmasters. I am, of course, Chad, and joining me, as always, is the man who will never let this podcast get under siege.
I am Austin Sumwitz, and yes, I will never let this podcast get under siege, unless it's by Sami Zayn.
Yes, and we have a special guest on the podcast today. It's a funny story. You know, we got done filming last week's Ringmasters, and if you remember, I was wearing my Kenny Omega t-shirt. So I leave the studio, I'm walking down the stairs, and someone walks by and wants to too-sweet me. And because it was such a rare thing that happens, I was almost thrown off. Like, I didn't know how to respond at first. So, I too-sweeted him and then said, "You want to be on the podcast?" And he said, "Sure." So now we have my boy Josh today.
Yes, hello. Always got to throw up the too-sweet whenever you see it. It's always great to have. So
until we get a cease and desist order.
I tried to too-sweet someone in the hallway who was wearing a Cody shirt, and he just looked at me weirdly. I'm like,
man.
Come on, dude.
Not a real
you can't
fan.
be like that.
He was probably worried about getting sued.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Or it could be like from CM Punk's podcast where it's like, I got it at a thrift store. Can you tell me who Cody is?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like when I go to the Ring of Honor show this weekend, I'm gonna try to too-sweet Cody, but I'm honestly scared. Like he's gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing? You want me to get sued?"
I'm so jealous right now that you're going to that. Because yes, Ring of Honor will be in Mount Pleasant this Saturday for the Soaring Eagle Cup. I think this is their first time in Mount Pleasant.
It's the first time in Mount Pleasant,
which drives me insane because I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be on vacation for the weekend, so I'm very mad that I'm gonna miss that. But I hope you have an absolute blast.
Oh, I'm pumped, and don't worry, your boy's gonna be taking notes. I'm gonna have an extensive review for the podcast. I also bought some meet and greets, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get at best a brief interview, at worst a soundbite pumping up the show. Either way, stay tuned. I'm gonna try my best. Who knows? I might just get super kicked when I try.
There you go.
Either way, at least it's a great story.
That's a start.
I'd argue that's about as good as anything you could get.
If the Young Bucks super kicked me asking for them to plug the podcast, I'll take it.
Exactly. So yeah, we're coming off of the heels of TLC, and so I'm gonna kind of throw us out there because we record these on Wednesdays, and then we try to put them out put out the episodes on Fridays. And as we put out the episode,
oh my gosh,
like
shit hit the
fan, like viral meningitis spread through the Raw locker room, causing everything to be thrown out of the whack. We got Kurt Angle in a WWE ring for the first time in 11 years, just out of the blue. And then we got the dream match between Finn Balor and AJ Styles.
Yeah, you texted me and said, "Dude, Kurt Angle is in the main event," and I was really because I didn't know yet. So I was like,
yeah, I didn't get a response for you. So I'm like, dude, like look online, everything's going crazy.
I was like, what? And I was at work, so I go into my office and I pull out my phone and I check, and I'm like, oh my god,
exactly.
And then I was like, what else happened? I'm like, oh, Bray Wyatt, no.
Oh yeah, I was like, dude, I'm like, and like after watching that match, I can tell you right now, like, screw, I don't care what that match would have been because what we got would have been better than anything that came out of Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail versus the Demon Finn.
I will say, I was probably the only person on the planet that was excited for Sister Abigail's debut, but I'm happy with Finn Balor debuting. So
exactly. That match was absolutely incredible, easily the highlight of the show. And Bray kind of saved himself dressing up as a woman and fighting Finn Balor. So you could argue he might have won by getting sick.
Mm-hmm. And then they can still go with Sister Abigail or something and stuff like that because like I feel like I don't know if they're gonna completely drop the angle because he's sick. But I mean like they can still do it.
Well, their timetable for both of them is in 8 weeks, so I think like 7 weeks now. Mm-hmm. I think in 7 weeks they'll get them. So I think that's right after Survivor Series, like the week after, maybe the week before.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right around there.
I could see Sister Abigail debuting at Survivor Series and costing Finn Balor the elimination match.
I could see that, yeah.
I could see that.
But at the same time, yeah, I would imagine we're gonna get Finn Balor versus
Brock Lesnar at the Rumble.
Yeah, I would love to see that. But yeah, so for TLC though, we had the pre-show, which was Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox. Nothing really too interesting except for just the fact that Alicia was just screaming like, "Everybody, do the referee's job, count." I started getting teary-eyed when I saw the promo, the video package for Kurt Angle during the pre-show because I was just like, he's coming back. Because like I mean I'd seen him wrestle on the Independents and stuff like that. His last match I saw him wrestle was at WCPW.
I saw that match.
Yeah, and that
with
was
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, with Joe Hendry. Yeah, exactly. I was like, damn. And like that's like pure wrestling contest where it's just like, because at the same time when I was going into it, I'm like, he's going into a gimmick match. I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna fare for him, but I was absolutely overjoyed from watching that.
Yeah. I am a mark, and I did not watch a single hour of the pre-show. Because again, I was at work, because I work on Sundays.
Exactly.
So I joined in, I saw, what did I see?
Did you see the debut of Asuka?
I missed Asuka.
Oh no!
Don't worry, I went back and rewatched it.
Right.
But watching it live, I missed Asuka. I think when I started, AJ Styles was walking down the ramp. So I was just in time for Balor Styles. But I did go back and rewatch the pay-per-view. So I am caught up. But live, I missed Asuka, which really bummed me out. But looking back on her match, I was kind of disappointed with it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the thing, is just like, it's just her debut match against Emma.
I think she should have been more dominant.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think the fact that they gave Emma a lot more like offense than you would think that they would give her, especially since they gave her a rematch the next night on Raw. Like, that would be a fine time to give her at least some offense, because then she's trying to like go in there and try to diffuse it early. But like, that should have been like a 2-minute squash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it should have been 2 minutes. Like, I think it should have been Emma running, Asuka just elbowing her in the face, and then just ending it.
What confuses me about that is, at the pay-per-view, that match lasted a fairly decent amount of time, longer than I think anyone thought. And the next night on Raw, it was like a 1.5-minute match. You'd think they'd want to do that the opposite way. Have her first match be the dominant win,
like
and then you can start building
It's almost
up.
like Vince completely had the booking show swapped for that match.
Yeah,
from Raw and
exactly.
Smack,
Well, and
from
if
Raw
you
and
notice
TLC.
too, like when Asuka's music hit at the pay-per-view, the crowd erupted. It was a huge pop. And then that Monday, the crowd was significantly less excited to see
Green Bay
Asuka.
was really lame. Green Bay was
Yeah, it
being
was a
really
weak
lame.
crowd.
Well, is it a bad crowd, or is it
I don't know.
or is it the fact that Emma went like 6 minutes with Asuka, like literally that match, the pay-per-view match did nothing for me to be like, oh man, Asuka. If I did not see Asuka at NXT and was just watching this, I would have been like, I don't see the big deal.
I mean, the thing is just because she's fighting Emma, so like everyone's kind of like, because I don't think anybody, even the casual fan, I don't think anyone came in there thinking Emma was gonna go over Asuka.
Right, and I think it's because it's Emma, and I think that was like Emma's first solo pay-per-view match. Like, I think then they said this was her singles debut.
It was her singles debut on. For
So the
pay-per-views.
crowd's already like, who the hell is Emma? Like, basically, you know?
Oh.
No one's expecting. It'd be one thing if her debut was against, like, you know, Bailey or Sasha or, like, a credible opponent. She should have walked in there, ate Emma, and then left. And I really think the crowd would have been like, oh, man, what a monster.
Exactly, but I mean, like, I did like, though, and I think they should use this for Shinsuke. There was a spot where she grabbed Emma by the arm and then just kicked her in the head over and over.
Yeah, I did like
that's
that.
how you book Shinsuke. That's what Shinsuke needs to be doing to his opponents, because like it's like, because they both have a similar style in that they're both considered eccentric and like just crazy and like out there. So, and they're both like relatively strong style wrestlers. So like, if you know how to do it with Emma, why can't you do the same thing with Shinsuke? It's just confusing to me why Shinsuke is wrestling more WWE style, whereas Emma's getting a lot more of these submission locks and just kicking people in the head. So
Yeah.
it just kind of confused me with that. But other than that, yeah, I agree with you that this should have been a squash, and the fact that they had the same match on Raw too just made it seem even more so. But after that, we got Elias for one of 3 appearances that he had on the show.
He just wouldn't go home.
No.
Every time I looked back up, he was on the TV again. It was,
Listen, when Jason Jordan like goes to Costco's and buys like 40 pounds of groceries, he wants to get it out there and he wants to throw it at people. First of all, you're a baby face and you're throwing food at someone. Like,
He should have been
Piss
throwing
off.
it to the crowd.
exactly.
You know, the hunger rate's at an all-time high. Jason Jordan should be throwing heads of lettuce to the crowd.
I was so, like, first of all, I loved how Elias the fact that he's like, listen, I'm going to get my song out there. You need to hear this. This is one of the best I wrote. And then Jason's just like, no, I'm going to throw shit at you.
I don't know. I really like Elias, and I really dislike Jason Jordan.
yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
like, I went into this, and my disdain for one really significantly drowned out my like of the other one.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Every time Elias came out, on one hand, I was like, oh, cool, Elias. And I was like, oh, that means Jason Jordan's going to be out soon.
Yeah. And
I
what
don't
was
know.
it for? Just because he interrupted his conversation with his dad?
Yeah.
wow, you're such a child. Like, legitimately. Like, you interrupted my important conversation that literally could have happened at any time just because you were like, listen, I want to go out there, I want to play my song. He got out of there pretty quickly, and he's just like, I feel so disrespectful. I'm going to throw lettuce at you.
And I think I was also pretty sour on this angle because, like, we saw this 3 times, and we could have easily have had this once or twice and still got Drew Gulak doing his PowerPoint, and that's what irritated me.
Yeah, Drew Gulak was on the pre-show doing a little thing, which I can see exactly why. He definitely owns up to it, and he really works with that angle. And that gimmick. So I would have definitely enjoyed to see that instead of Elias 2 extra times. Granted, I love Elias, but like...
I like Elias too, but I think Drew Gulak is like the most entertaining thing on 205 Live right now. So I was looking forward to seeing him do that PowerPoint thing, and we missed it so I could watch Jason Jordan throw vegetables at somebody. Like,
yay,
once,
WWE.
Once was funny, twice was nah, and the third time I was like, God, just... end this already.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm starting to get worried for Elias because I'm noticing he's getting more popular than I think WWE anticipated. And when that happens, it never goes well for the superstar that gets too popular too quick.
It's almost like Zack Ryder.
Before it was like, everyone, when he came out, it was like, oh, here we go, it's Elias again. But now people genuinely, at least all the people I talk to and watch with, every time he comes out, it's like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And it worries me because I really like him. And he's solid in the ring. He's getting way better on the mic every week he comes out, and I really want to see a push with him, but I'm worried it's going to go the opposite way.
Well, since they turned one of their main heels babyface now, maybe we have room to make Elias Sampson a main event heel.
I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But after that, we had a match that the crowd actually really got into, and it surprised me. And, I mean, these guys worked their butts off. We had the Brian Kendrick and Gentleman Jack Gallagher versus Cedric Alexander and Rich Swan. First of all, they gave Jack a new theme. I don't know if this was new to TLC or if this was on 205 Live, because I don't watch 205 Live, as I've said many times. But there was a sick Phoenix Splash by Swan. Phoenix Splash may be one of my favorite moves off the top rope. It's just so freaking good. But yeah, Cedric and Rich won, and I was pleasantly surprised by that match.
I thought it was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be that good. In my opinion, probably the second or third best match of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have thought you put the cruiserweights in an actual time slot and give them actual stuff to do, and they perform? Who would have guessed these incredible performers can perform incredibly when given the opportunity?
Especially when one of them's wrestling in loafers and a suit. It's like, oh my God, they can do anything. So, like, I don't understand why they can't do more stories like this with the cruiserweights. When you have cruiserweights that are just sitting there being thrown into like 6-man tag matches, why can't you just come up with a feud that you could put on 205 Live? I haven't seen TJP in like 2
even
months.
Work there anymore?
I haven't seen him in like 2 months. No, that's a lie.
I think Neville took him with him when he left.
Yeah, exactly.
We're out of here.
We're leaving, TJ.
Yeah, and TJ's like, okay.
TJ's like, well, let me cut a really bad promo before I leave. I don't want to go.
Oh, yeah. But then we had the Raw Women's Championship match between Mickie James and Alexa Bliss.
And this feud. This feud now.
I think, well, I thought Mickie was going to go over, but...
So did I.
Yeah, but
there
they
was
ended
a point in the middle where it really looked like Mickie was going to take it. And I wasn't too happy about it.
We made a prediction last week on the podcast that we thought Mickie was going to win just to be a month or two transition for Asuka. Because I think Alexa-Asuka is your Mania match.
Oh, absolutely.
So you don't want to give that away until then. But if you can give Mickie James the title until we're ready to take it off and put it on Asuka...
And then you could do like a big match between like Alexa Bliss and Bayley and Sasha and something like that, or just like a triple threat for a #1 contenders match, and that could main event like say Elimination Chamber or Roadblock or whatever's the next Raw pay-per-view, like in between WrestleMania and Royal Rumble.
I think face Bayley and a heel Sasha is going to be a Mania match.
All right,
that's what I think.
But yeah, I thought it was cool though because Mickie gave a really tearful speech saying, "This isn't the last time you'll see me going for this title, and I will be a 7-time women's champion." And I think the fact that they said, "Listen, like she's gonna get another shot, like not like she's just coming back and now she's lost and now she's gonna disappear like all the other guys who return like the Dudleys and stuff like that." So I feel like the fact that they like said, "Listen, like she'll come back." I think it's a lot more respect that they gave to her than they do to a lot of people that return. So. I think Alexa's had the title for long enough, and I think it's time to see someone else have it for sure. Even though Alexa is great, but you can do a great story with her trying to get that back or something like that.
I don't know. I don't want to ever have to hear Biscuit Butt again.
Exactly.
Like if I have to ever hear that word again.
Or mom jeans.
Yeah.
Like just this
Like-
back and forth trash talk nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. And then there was the Cruiserweight Championship match between Enzo Amore with no voice and Kalisto. Like
This match was awful.
It was shot. And I'm like, did meningitis take his voice? I was like, I saw a great sign in the crowd. I don't know if you guys saw it. I saw a sign that said Kalisto killed Harambe.
Oh no.
That sign was at ringside. So
Is Harambe code for TV ratings?
that's what it was all along.
I don't know.
The only good thing I would say about this match was the spot when Enzo got to the top rope, cheesing Lucha Dragons, and then immediately just signed "fuck off" to the crowd, and then just completely got off the top rope. Like that, I was okay with, but other than that, like, yeah.
I did not like this match. I think Enzo without a voice, like that's a horrible like.
There's no point in having him if he doesn't have the voice. He's a promo guy. He's decent in the ring, but you book him for him to talk.
And when he has no voice, he's just kind of like, "What do we do?"
My name is Enzo Amore, and I'm Batman.
He's now a 2-time Cruiserweight champion as well, so
Yeah.
there's that.
I'm done with Kalisto. It was fun while it lasted. Now get off my TV.
Exactly.
Now who do you give the next Cruiserweight title shot to?
I want it to be.
It's gotta be Cedric, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nobody else.
I
There's
feel
nobody
like
else.
Mustafa Ali's getting it next. Though.
I'm sure that's how they're booking it because of Mustafa saving Kalisto that last time. I'm sure that's where they're going. And nothing against Mustafa Ali. He's definitely talented in the ring. His character still needs a lot of work, I feel like. Meanwhile, with Cedric, like he's already genuinely likable, and he's incredible in the ring, and they've already shown that he can do great work.
Yeah.
I feel like he's more ready to go into a title match right now, but it seems like that they're building to Mustafa, which I'm willing to see where it goes, but I want to see Cedric with that title so bad.
I just want them to call up Leo Rush. Let Leo Rush have a crack with the Cruiserweight belt. That'd be incredible.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, then we had Demon Finn versus AJ Styles, which we've already established was the match of the night.
All right. Well, I am very, very sad that Sister Wyatt had to call in sick.
And he didn't. And there was no Halloween demon. There was no orange demon.
Saving the Pumpkin King paint for Sister Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good match. For a match that had no story. I think there was a story. I think the two leaders of Bullet Club squaring off,
that's your
cool.
story. Yeah.
And I really like how Corey even said that, Finn, was the leader of the infamous club, and then AJ took over.
Exactly.
I thought that was really cool.
But just the fact that AJ has been just working his ass off the last 3 days, flying from the South America tour to be at TLC, then to have a match on Raw, and then to have a match on SmackDown, it's just holy crap. You cannot you cannot say to me that AJ Styles is not one of the greatest pro wrestlers right now, because he truly is unbelievable.
I think he is the greatest professional wrestler right now.
Exactly. You can't say that.
He's top 5 of all time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's just he's so, for lack of a better term, phenomenal that they just did this incredible match with no story going into it, except for these two guys are insane. They're both members of the club, and then they just go at it. And then the fact that they two-sweeted each other right at the end of the match,
I didn't think they were going to do it.
I didn't think so either. And it seemed like that was, as far as I could tell online, that was AJ and Finn. They did that at the end themselves. That wasn't booked as a Vince wants you to two-sweet at the end.
Yeah, but now it's WWE's Twitter handle picture.
Yeah, it's mine too, because that's freaking insane.
It was a cool moment. I did really enjoy it. An interesting argument that I heard, though. People were saying that it was kind of disrespectful to do that, since the Young Bucks just got a cease and desist from it.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks on the Indies are kind of or the Bullet Club, is kind of getting, all of their stuff taken away with their two suites and their. So
it's so petty, the fact that this thing is happening with them, and it's just are you kidding me right now that you're trying to take this from them? Seriously, you did not invent the too sweet thing. I don't even care if your argument is, well, the click was the whole start. No, it's not you can't just take away a gesture and say you can't use this or else we're going to sue the shit out of you.
If I was the Bucks, I'd be like, look it's just a buck.
Exactly.
I'd have been like, it's just the Young
Longhorns,
Bucks.
Texas Longhorns.
Exactly. Yeah. Why Texas Longhorns? They
Just
can't
call
go
it
at
something
you.
else.
Just call it something else. Exactly. It's
Now,
like
my big thing with this is these are arguably the hottest wrestlers in the world outside of WWE. I don't think it's arguable. The Bullet Club is, even if you don't know New Japan, even if you don't know Ring of Honor, you've
know
heard
Bullet
of
Club.
Bullet Club. Why would WWE do anything to form a bad relationship with these people?
exactly.
you.
They all have
Especially-
contracts
yeah.
coming up. Why would you not be like, you guys do your thing, like everything's great, and by the way, when you're done over there, how about you come over here?
Exactly.
All they're doing is creating a divide between infinite amounts of, you see how much this merch sells. The money they'd pull in if they could even get any member of Bullet Club start selling merchandise. You're making more money than you could ever
Exactly,
imagine.
and the fact that they're just like, and you're signing these guys from New Japan too, and you're like, you're taking these guys from New Japan, so it's like, it's almost like you're doing a WCW tactic of you're poaching their talent, and then all of a sudden you're saying, no, you can't do this, we created this, except you didn't. It's just like, it's petty of WWE because they're already the top game in town. They don't need to be doing this kind of stuff. They're just trying to throw their weight around and try to scare people off. But why would you do that when you know how much money you would get if you somehow got a relationship with New Japan to have a Bullet Club invasion on an episode of Raw? That would make so much money for both companies. Why is it so hard for both companies to be successful? Why is Vince on this my high horse like, no, I need to have my company be the biggest of all time? Even though, like, there's not a single company that can eat your paywall. Like, you're so much bigger than everybody else, but you still want to throw your weight around. It's like, you're, like, be a star my ass.
And I really think Vince doesn't realize who he's messing with. Like, it's the Young Bucks. After they got their cease and desist, they made T-shirts that are the Young Bucks 2 sweeting that says cease and desist on the hand gestures, and they're making money hands over fist.
It's the #1 shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Like, literally, your lawsuit is making the Young Bucks more money than if they just had regular 2 Sweet stuff. And the Young Bucks don't need the 2 Sweet. The Young Bucks could drop the 2 Sweet entirely, and they're still the Young Bucks. Their shirts are the #1 sellers in Hot Topic history. Like, Hot Topic, a store that's not even a pro wrestling related store, is making money off the Young Bucks. Like, the Bullet Club in general is bigger than the WWE. That might be a hot take, but the Bullet Club is bigger than the WWE.
I'd say Bullet Club is bigger than wrestling as a whole, because people who don't watch wrestling can get behind these characters and basically fall in love with them. They're what get people into New Japan. They're what get people into wrestling. But with this whole cease and desist, I genuinely believe this is more of a personal attack, not against Bullet Club, but against Cody. Because Cody really proved, other people have done it before, but Cody took it a whole new way, where he's like, I don't need WWE. I can go succeed without them. And did it. Lots of people leave, but he did it right away because he had the talent. And I think WWE, they don't need to be concerned, but they are. I think they took that personally, and they are lashing out to sort of show, no matter where you go, we're still in charge. Like, we still owned you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to stop. No matter who leaves, I think we're going to see these things happening with names, gimmicks, everything. I think it's just going to get worse and worse.
Unless the higher ups change some way, or if Vince is no longer like running like as CEO and Hunter takes over, or if someone else takes over, like, it's gonna keep happening because Vince, like, as much as he touts his be a star thing, like I said, he is by far one of the biggest bullies.
But
in
Triple
pro
H is
wrestling.
almost just as petty as Vince McMahon.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't see this changing at all. Like, I see it being just as bad, maybe even worse.
With Triple H, I do see it getting a little better purely because I feel like more so than Vince, Triple H cares about wrestling. It's obvious looking at NXT, the way they build people up. He cares about the talent, he cares about the business, and I think he will realize how good New Japan is for business. Like, having a competitor, a legitimate competitor, would make WWE that much more than what it is right now. And I think Triple H would be the one person to realize that and take advantage of it.
All I know is the day New Japan gets a major television, American television network to agree to air their shows.
Instead of just what was the
Instead
network?
of Access.
Yeah, Access. That's it. Yeah.
Like,
if they can get a big brand to like take their show, like there you go. Then you can.
They're
go,
in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, they're in massive trouble because Bullet Club can just completely run wild on television and then just completely get a huge new audience into pro wrestling, and then that's considered like an actual competitor.
Because, you know, a big problem with New Japan is, you know, they don't know how their Japanese television would, like, connect with the audience. But,
Exactly.
like, I look at it kind of like, you know, with Lucha Underground, you know. A lot of their wrestlers, you know, they speak Spanish. And people's biggest concerns are, how is this going to connect to, like, you know, the American audience? But they have subtitles. And I love Lucha Underground.
I mean, like,
You put New Japan Wrestling and, you know, just put subtitles under their promos, that'll get over. And especially if they could work out something with the Young Bucks to put Being the Elite up on their, like, can you imagine if they played like clips of Being the Elite through like video packages to like promote the Bullet Club? Like, that would be hilarious. And I really think, and I agree with you, like, I think I really root for New Japan so much because I want wrestling to be competitive again. Because back when they had the Monday Night Wars, like, that was, like, that's considered the golden age of wrestling. Now, I didn't really like the Attitude Era in hindsight, but it was the most popular wrestling's ever been, and I wish we could go back to that.
Like, not in terms of the content, but just the fact of being competitive. We're like, hey, we have to put good television every single week, otherwise we're going to go out of business.
And we need guys, we need guys who have, like, their own identity, too. Like, when TNA switched to Monday nights, that didn't do anything because at that point, TNA went from being the promising X division with guys like AJ and Daniels and like Samoa Joe to being, hey, look, it's Hulk Hogan and there's Scott Hall and there's Kevin Nash and it's just all these old wrestlers who just want to relive their glory days. Oh, and then AJ's there also. Like, they sold out so they could get a TV deal. Whereas we need a wrestling company who knows who they are and are like, we're an alternative and are genuinely an alternative.
Not like an NXT alternative.
Yeah.
But like a legitimate alternative that's not WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I know, going back to, you said if we could go back to the Monday Night Wars, I think the most important thing there was everyone cared.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't a wrestling fan, you knew what was happening. It was on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
It was on ESPN. Everyone was talking about it. If we could get back to that, that would be just
I agree.
perfection.
It's going to be tough, but I would definitely say that would be miles better for not just for New Japan, but for wrestling fans in general, just so they have legitimate reasons to like watch both shows. Because I remember multiple people just jumping back between both shows. Like because like there are people that'll stick with one show, but then you'll get the people that jump back and forth and are supporting both companies.
I'm a SmackDown loyalist.
I am as well.
I
always have been.
Yep, I've always preferred SmackDown. When the brand split ended, I stopped watching SmackDown because it started to turn into just the Raw recap show.
Oh, it was.
But as soon as they became exclusive again, I was all about the blue brand.
Yeah. But after getting back on topic with TLC, Elias and Jason Jordan ended up getting a match after Jason came out for a third time to throw produce at him, and he didn't even win clean. Elias had his shoulder up, and Jason still won the match. So exactly how are we booking Jason Jordan to be a babyface when he's not even winning matches? Like he's didn't legitimately win. It was a garbage referee's job.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't understand why we're like, Jason Jordan's so great. He's Kurt Angle's son. But
And can we talk about how great the commentary team was for this pay-per-view?
oh,
Like,
they were fantastic.
I love how, like, oh, you know, Michael Cole's a babyface commentator, but yet I really like Elias. Corey Graves is a heel commentator, but I hate Elias, and I hate Enzo Amore, and I love Jason Jordan because he's my buddy. I like, and Booker T, you know, a babyface commentator.
Who's a nutcase.
And Kurt Angle's like, Kurt Angle did this all for ego. Like, oh, I love Elias. I hate Jason Jordan. I like how these commentators aren't just being biased because of where their alignments are. It shows that they actually are people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It shows my personality.
yeah. I mean, like I personally like wanting to be a commentator. I think this is some of the best commentary they've done in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like not only are they showing like, hey, we can like different guys, whether we're babyface or heel commentators, but they're also like, there's legitimately, I feel like Booker T and Corey Graves are just going to get into a fight sometime.
Yeah.
Because there's just points where Booker's just going to just launch and just go nuts.
Like when they're like, Booker, what are you talking about? And Booker's like, yeah, you know, and he's just like trying to like defend himself. And like
He
he's
can't.
just
He
like,
never, like I love Booker T like as the five-time WCW champion, but Booker, you're a nutcase, you're crazy, and you shouldn't be on commentary. In my opinion.
I love Booker T on commentary.
I don't like
Booker T works on commentary because Corey Graves is on commentary.
Yeah.
And Corey can work with anything and turn anything into just awesome commentary.
Imagine,
you said, when he goes off, like, what are you talking? That's because that's what everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
And then when you have Corey jump in and say it, it's just everything works.
Imagine if Corey Graves was replaced with Byron Saxton, and then we had Booker T, Byron Saxton, and Michael Cole. It would be hell on earth.
Oh,
that would be
it was horrible. It was horrible when they had when it was just Corey Graves, Byron, and Cole. The commentary team sucked. Like, I don't know.
But yeah, and finally with TLC, we had the Olympic Shield versus Miz, The Bar, Braun Strowman, and Kane. First of all, I just want to say it's ridiculous the fact that Kane because nobody has pyro anymore. Let's just give him the sound of fire for his entrance to just scare the crap out of people. It's not the same, and it's just ridiculous.
Before we go too far into this match, what were your guys' like? Did you like it? Did you not like the match?
I was very entertained. I wouldn't necessarily say the match was like 5 stars or anything like that, but I was very entertained throughout a majority of the match.
I will say I did not like it.
Okay.
And I have very specific reasons that I just couldn't shake the entire time. I thought there were very entertaining parts, but overall it left me not too thrilled.
First time I watched it, I hated it.
Really?
Went back, rewatched it, and my hatred turned into it was okay.
Oh yeah, I was entertained. I wouldn't necessarily say it was incredible, but I would say I was entertained.
So yeah, the match starts with all the heels walking out, and then the Shield come from the crowd, and like I said, I didn't get to see them give Kurt Angle a flak jacket, so I didn't know he was going to come out in Shield gear. So I see Ambrose and Rollins come out, and then Kurt Angle popping up behind him in like Shield gear.
Just like the proud dad that he is.
Yeah.
His just big ass potato head with that giant smile. It looked so out of place.
It's been memed constantly.
You could tell they're probably like, okay, you're part of the Shield, so come out and try to be as intimidating as possible. Ambrose, Reigns come out looking intense, and Kurt Angle's like, yeah! Let's get them, boys!
Exactly. It's like, come on, my children, let's beat these people up.
And I like how people were still guarding the "You Suck" chants with the Shield music.
I was like, the whole time I was going, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. But yeah, the Shield comes out, they grab chairs, they swarm the ring, They do a nice double ladder spot with Seth and Dean onto the announce table, onto Kane and Braun. And then Kurt Angle just completely gets body slammed through a table by Braun Strowman, gets carried out to the back. I was like, wow, Kurt Angle has morphed into Roman Reigns.
I thought, I mean, it was obvious Kurt Angle was going to come back in the...
Come back and win.
I thought he was going to come back in his singlet, though.
Oh, I hope so.
Like, I was hoping he was going to come back in singlet.
Comes back with a costume change.
Because I was like, don't get me wrong, like, I was happy Kurt Angle was in this match, but seeing him in Shield gear kept throwing me off. Like, I was
what bothered you the whole match?
It wasn't what bothered me the whole match. It was just something that I wish I could have saw Kurt Angle in his red, white, and blue singlet. Like, I was excited. I was looking forward to it. I'm happy they did play his music when he came back, because I was also really bummed I didn't get to hear his music, because I'm a nostalgia mark. I want the nostalgia.
Thankfully, they did that when he came back out.
Yes,
though.
and that's so that wrong was written. But again, I wish he would have came back in his, and I wish, spoiler alert, when they brought out the garbage truck, I thought for sure he was going to be driving the garbage truck.
Yeah.
Like
just full Milkomania again.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course there was a big botch with a Japanese table with the bar where they tried to throw, I think it was Seth,
and it didn't break.
And it didn't break. I saw this online too. The French commentators for WWE actually said, "I am the table."
I am the table.
I was like, yes. Raise promotion, everything for this man. He just made a Botchamania reference on WWE commentary. I was like, I can't believe he did that. He's probably gonna get fired, but I don't care.
And I like when they put him to the table that didn't break. Like Cesaro looked at the crowd and just went like,
dude, we don't buy these tables.
Like, hey, I did my job, okay?
It's like the table didn't do this, but then they set him up and they set it up and they break it again. And there was another point too where they got put through 2 tables, and then one of them broke, the other one didn't. So there were a few Japanese tables tonight.
They need to really fire their table guy.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know where they got him, but Kane ended up getting hit with a chair by accident by Braun Strowman, and then Kane eventually turned on Braun, beating him up and chokeslams him through the stage by the announce table. And then goes full John Cena on Wade Barrett and just yanks 20 chairs,
which was cool.
Yeah,
I'll never get tired of watching that though. It's always fun.
Like I'm like constantly like, oh, he probably moved under the stage, but like I just keep imagining like if he's actually under there, Jesus Christ.
Like I don't know, like and I was apparently something must have been wrong with me at that time, because like when they did the really weird angle of like looking upwards at Kane and like you saw the chairs lining up from, and I was actually wondering, I wonder what they're gonna do. Like, what a weird angle.
Yeah.
Is Kane gonna do like an aerial move?
Is
like,
Kane gonna
is
climb
Kane
the
doing
chairs?
a splash? Like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden he like moves up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. But Braun wakes up and he's just like, he won't go down, and he fights back, and then all four of the Miz, the Bar, and Kane throw Braun Strowman into a garbage truck and commit murder. This is the second time someone's tried to murder Braun Strowman. Like, poor guy. He's been like, there's been attempted murder on him twice, and both involving a vehicle.
You know, I think it was almost poetic. You know, Braun Strowman, you know, threw Kalisto in a dumpster during his dumpster match. And then the same pay-per-view where Kalisto was in a championship match, Braun Strowman gets thrown in a garbage truck.
I didn't even realize
I will say the best part of that whole spot was the crowd chanting, "This is murder," after that.
Yeah, that was murder.
Amazing.
So why didn't you like the match?
I didn't like it for a couple reasons. One, although it was great seeing Kurt Angle back, they really blew their load early on this. It didn't really make sense for the face GM to team up with. I mean, he was with the faces, but to watch your face GM get that look of anger and beat the shit out of the Miz with a chair really throws off the power dynamic. When you see the face authority figure going to town on the heels, it doesn't really make sense. And it's like, how are you going to go forward? Because Kurt Angle was the shining golden boy. And after this, the whole power dynamic's messed up because it's always going to feel weird now. Whenever anything bad happens to the Bar, Miz, Strowman, it's going to feel forced. Also, they
just walk by the water cooler and Kurt's sitting there and he's just like
Yeah.
trying to have a working relationship.
coffee.
And then
How you doing, boys?
Miz gets flashbacks and getting hit with a chair.
Yeah.
Sheamus gets flashbacks of getting Angle slammed through a table. It's just like, yeah, what a great boss.
It threw off the power dynamic. I think this match would have been much better, and a lot of people won't like this. I think it would have been much better had Roman Reigns been there instead.
Well, I think so too, but that's only because, you know, it's the Shield.
Yeah,
Like,
and that makes more sense for them to fight through. I don't know. There was just a lot about this match that felt so. There were lots of spots where there was just too many people.
yeah.
To where everything was
Yeah,
happening.
it was a very crowded match.
Yeah, they did a fairly good job at keeping the action, for the most part, focused on one point. But it seemed like I was missing stuff the whole time, because I went back and rewatched it, and it didn't make me like it much more. But
So if you were creative, who would you have had fill Kurt Angle's spot? If you had been like, we need to wait, we need to save Kurt Angle, who would you have booked to replace?
Cassius
Roman?
Ohno.
The original Shield member.
they really could have gone and grabbed someone from NXT
Yeah.
who's ready. I think even if you wanted to really just swerve people.
Drew McIntyre.
See, I know a guy named Matt
Not
Hardy
even
who was
that.
sitting there doing nothing.
Well, that's another thing. I was glad they didn't do the standard, the Shield need a friend. Oh, look, it's Jeff Hardy again, which I thought was going to happen because of all the ladders. I'm like, the Hardys are going to come out. It's going to happen. But they really could have swerved people. It would have been cool to see Authors of Pain show up.
Oh, yeah.
Not for any real reason except to show how dominant they are.
Mm-hmm.
They can even go back to NXT, but to have them come up and get hype going, because you see a disconnect between NXT and main roster.
Yeah.
If you have them come up at this stage, make an impact, and then go back down to NXT, when they come up for real, it would mean so much more. And they would be believable opponents for Braun and Kane. You could have had them come up and go against them, and no one would think any different of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just felt, I don't know, everything just felt weird and rushed. To be fair, I think they did a great job with what they were given. You have 2 days to make a new roster for this pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Like-
Like the viral meningitis threw it completely out of whack. And granted, we were all just like, everyone was joking, like, viral meningitis is a better booker than the actual writing team for WWE. But my biggest issue with this by far, because I was still very entertained throughout the whole match. I thought there were some very great spots in there to keep it entertaining. I mean, it's a gimmick match. I wasn't exactly expecting anything 5 stars. My only issue was the fact that I wanted Kurt Angle's return to the ring to be built up naturally. I didn't want it to. I thought the fact that he was just kind of thrown in there, like just out of nowhere, just breaking news on a Friday, 2 days before the pay-per-view, That's not how you book the return of the Olympic gold medalist after 11 years.
Yeah, I definitely think they could have.
And also just because of the fact that Kurt isn't necessarily the best when it comes to gimmick matches, because it's not his area, because he's a wrestling machine. That's where he thrives the most. That's why I constantly still go back to his match with Joe Hendry at WCPW, because that was a great wrestling match, and that's what Kurt Angle is. He's an amazing wrestler. In terms of gimmick matches, like, you don't really get anything that you wouldn't get from any other superstar, because, like, anybody else could hit someone with a chair. Yes, we did get some great Angle slams through a table, which is amazing and is a great pop, but at the same time, I wanted Kurt Angle to return and make a huge, like, legitimate wrestling match with someone, like, on the roster, like someone, like, makes fun of his family or something like that, and then they build it, and then Kurt's like, listen, I can't stand by idly. I want to fight you at this pay-per-view, and then there you go, you get the return. But now it's already happened, so if he does come back and does a legitimate wrestling match, it's not going to seem as big to the casual fans, because they've already seen him before. But at the same time, they don't, like, a lot of times the casual fans don't realize just how damn good Kurt Angle is at wrestling. So that was my only issue with it. I thought it was pretty good, but I wanted my Kurt Angle to return to feel built up, like, I can't wait, just like, holy shit, everything's happening now.
What they could have done was hold off on Kurt Angle and then cancel Finn Balor's match and just put him in this match. You know, Finn Balor doesn't have an opponent now. He's going to be with the Shield. And then, you know, because clearly they were like weird on time, because they gave Samson and Jason Jordan, 3 segments.
Exactly.
So you could have just cut Finn Balor's match. You could have made that match longer, as long as it could have been. It was, I think, almost a half an hour. You could have made it the exact same length. You could have made another match that needed more time, like the Cruiserweight Tag Team match. Or you could have made, you could have let Drew Gulak have his thing. Because no one really, we all knew as soon as that that Bray and Roman got sick, we all knew that this pay-per-view was going to be in flux. If you would have canceled Finn Balor's match, put him in that 6-man, kept AJ away, which we wouldn't have gotten that match, but
we will eventually.
We would have eventually.
We could have had everything advertised, and we would have had Finn Balor in the match, which I think would have been a good match. And then you run Raw exactly the way Raw went now, which Shane McMahon put the entire SmackDown roster
under
and attacked
siege.
The Raw roster
Under siege.
and then it ended with Shane McMahon being like, you get your guys, whoever's left, and we'll settle this. That's where you debut Kurt Angle. You get Kurt Angle trying to gather a Raw team, and everyone's like, I'm not doing that. Like, no, you see what they did to me, or like,
and then
listen, I'm hurt. And then Kurt Angle's like,
Kurt's the team leader, and then Shane's the
I was
team
going to
leader.
say, are we going to see those two in the match? Do you
I
think
hope
we're
so.
seeing them?
I want Kurt to be like, you know what? You SmackDown, you've decimated my roster, but I've got 4 of these guys who aren't taking it, who are willing to go to war. And then Shane McMahon's got his 5 guys, and he's like, well, unless we're going to have a 4-on-5 handicap match, and Kurt Angle go, oh no, you'll get your 5th guy. And then he takes off his suit and he's wearing a singlet.
Exactly.
And then he's like, I'm going to be the 5th guy.
Yeah.
It's true. It's damn true. That's how you debut
Shane
Kurt Angle.
McMahon kicks Baron Corbin off the team again and takes his spot.
Exactly.
And then we get,
Still bitter about that.
and then we get and then Jason Jordan's on the team also. And we get Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle are the last 2 guys versus the entire SmackDown team. And Kurt Angle goes ham. Angle slam, suplex, angle slam,
Ankle
makes people
lock.
tap out. It gets down to where it's just Kurt Angle and let's say, I don't know, some SmackDown guy. Let's say Randy Orton is left. And Randy Orton is goes for an RKO. Kurt Angle reverses it into an angle slam. Is going to go pin him. And then Jason Jordan comes out with a chair and clunks Kurt Angle right in the head. Jason Jordan now becomes a huge heel because he attacked Kurt Angle. Randy Orton pins Kurt Angle. That sets up your WrestleMania feud between Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle, with Jason Jordan on the fast track to being a heel.
You're fantasy booking the shit out of this right
The
now.
only thing I would like more than that, you get it like you said, those 2 versus the entire SmackDown team. It comes down to the end. Shane versus Angle and Jordan. They're about to beat Kurt, and Zayn and Owens come out and save it for SmackDown. Because that would throw a huge wrench in everything going on and would really be able to play up Zayn's I'm doing this for you. Like, make him really... Because they're basically telling Zayn and Owens, do what you did in Ring of Honor. Just do that. Here's the microphones. Have fun.
Yeah, basically.
And that's why it's one of the best things on WWE TV.
And I think, like you just said, the fantasy booking, that's the main reason I didn't like this main event. Because Obviously, you're a fan of fantasy booking.
Did fantasy
I'm a
warfare
huge
just
fan
get
of
real?
fantasy
Did
booking.
fantasy warfare just get real?
But like, there were so many better options for Kurt Angle, and now none of them matter. Like, because you'll never have the build-up that you could have had.
Mm-hmm.
The promos could have lasted. If it was promos for Mania, they could have started today, and no one would have had a problem with it. They could have been building from this point until Mania, but instead it was a 2-day build.
Yeah, that was my only issue with that. And then for him to come out on Raw trying to get back to his old general manager ways, it just seemed very forced.
Yeah.
Especially if and you can't tell me WWE wasn't like, oh man, Roman Reigns could miss this show. They've known about this meningitis thing for so long. So how about instead of having 5 guys against 3 guys who one might not be there, and you know you're gonna pull the switch and have Kane, Braun Strowman in a feud, why don't you just have the angle where he turns on Kane, the go home show to the pay-per-view, and then you could do a 4-on-4 TLC match with the Shield and Braun, then the heels, and then Roman misses the show, but you still have Dean and Rollins and the Equalizer, the monster among men, Braun.
Yeah, they basically 2 people anyway.
Yeah, and you could still do the spot where they throw him in a dumpster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And they could have just had Kane return a week earlier instead of go home Raw.
Exactly. And I mean that would have made the finish a little bit more different because then you don't have Kurt Angle coming down and being the Miz. But you could have had Braun lift up the garbage truck thing and walk out and win the match. We're already gonna make it look like he got crushed with a garbage truck. You might as well ham it up even more and have him free himself with brute strength and yell Braun, and then running down the ramp and then winning it.
Also, I said when I was watching it, I know obviously the garbage truck is rigged so he's safe. I would still be shitting my pants in there because it's still a garbage truck and it's still closing. I don't care how safe I know it is. Part of me is losing my mind.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to die right now.
It's this is how I go. This is how I go.
Or how healthy, how Samoa Joe was healthy. Samoa Joe is back from injury. And you can't have Samoa Joe fill the void of the Shield.
He's
Braun Strowman injured him. That story writes itself.
I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know if they were. I don't know if they'd be willing to pull the trigger on him for a babyface run.
He doesn't have to. He could literally go heel the next night.
Or just win the match that night. Yeah, win the match and then take out the Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, another reason I'm remembering, I really like it. This whole Shield thing seems really forced to me. I feel like it's we don't have a champion, so we need a main event.
Well, I think it's more. We know we want Roman versus Brock at Mania. How do we get Roman over? Oh, let's put him with the Shield. You notice as soon as Roman's been with the Shield, it's been all cheers. Now, whenever Roman does grab the microphone to talk, he gets booed. But the boos have lessened since the Shield has been back.
When he had his steel cage match against Braun, there was still let's go Roman. Yeah. Roman sucks.
If they keep,
he's definitely not over. Just the Shield is over.
But if they keep him with the Shield going into Mania, I would not be surprised if he's over to some degree.
I don't know. That crowd's way too hardcore. I don't think they'd give him the time of day.
I think with hardcore fans he'll be over because I feel like most hardcore fans, at least the ones I talk to, which to be fair, not many, but I feel like people are starting to get tired of Brock Lesnar holding this champion.
I'm tired of
in
Brock
the
Lesnar
dark.
holding the champion. It
just not showing up, and when he does show up, he doesn't fight. He shows up. Paul does his little speech. He doesn't even need to be there. They could show it on the screen. It'd have the exact same effect. And I already like Roman Reigns. I already do. So
that's
him
a
going
hot
against
take.
Brock, I'm like, do it. Take the belt. Anyone. There was a house show in Detroit at the Joe. Final show ever at the Joe. And they had Brock versus Samoa Joe. And it looked like Joe was going to win. And that crowd was going crazy, which is partially because everyone likes Samoa Joe. And you could tell when he won it, there were people going, again, it's still Brock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talked about this previously on the podcast where I say, you can't overexpose someone like Brock Lesnar because as we already show, he does his thing and then he does it well and then he goes away for a little bit. And my big thing is because they have him so put at the top of the card as the beast incarnate that if they were to just on every single week on Raw and have him beat up someone on Raw. It would be like Goldberg doing his massive streak thing. Like, we already know this is gonna happen, so it's not really like we're not on the edge of our seats. Which is why, now that we've survived TLC and we're going into Survivor Series, and we've already been confirmed that it's Brock versus Jinder, unless AJ beats Jinder and becomes the new WWE champion.
That's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm praying happens. Like, and it's like you want Brock when he comes to a pay-per-view or when he comes to a Big Four event to have a match where it's like you think he's gonna lose. Because like the more doubt you put into Brock Lesnar, the more you're gonna get the other guy over just because of the fact that he's kicking Brock's ass. The fact that we're putting Jinder Mahal against Brock Lesnar is what would happen if you would have Brock Lesnar against some random on Raw. It's like nobody gives a crap.
And
because
the fact
it's
that
like,
you have Paul Heyman, the guy who, if there was going to be a guy who could get you excited for this match, who could make you think Jinder Mahal could win, it would be him. If he would have come out and been like, Brock Lesnar is not taking this lying down. He beat Shinsuke. He beat Randy. He's been WWE champion for how long? Like, this guy is the real deal. Only do that much more. And Paul Heyman, like, you could probably convince some people. Oh, maybe
you couldn't convince me.
Well,
There's no convincing for me.
But we're a bunch of marks. You could convince the casual fan.
Here's a hot take for you. I hope Jinder beats Brock.
I
genuinely
I'm against you for
because
that.
I see.
Is it just because you're bored? Because that's how we got Jinder Mahal as WWE champion in the first place. Because people were bored as Randy Orton was WWE champion.
I'd laugh.
That's how we got Jinder Mahal in the first place. And look how much good it's done for us. You can't just go to Jinder or something crazy when you're bored.
I don't know. I'd laugh if Jinder won.
This is where I never get invited back on this podcast again. I like Jinder.
You're the
as
best
champion.
guest we've ever had.
I like Jinder as champion. You want to take that back now, or are we gonna?
You're the only guest we've had.
Okay. Oh well, there we go.
Exactly.
But I think he's showing improvements since he first won that title. He's been getting better. He finally had a clean victory, which is a relatively clean victory, which is amazing. But I think he is a couple steps away from being a legitimate champion.
When he comes out and cuts promos about him being racist, saying you always look the same.
Step one, stop that.
Yeah.
That's step one.
That was
I'm
recent,
seeing flashes
though.
of him in ring. He's getting a lot better when he's not concussing Finn Balor. But I genuinely think they could have an actual champion on their hands if they just give him a little. I think they should take the belt off him, give him time, and then give it back. And I think he could be a legitimate threat.
I disagree with you hardcore because I think Jinder Mahal has already failed as WWE champion because I just don't see exactly because people get he gets heat, but that's just because of the fact that he's not believable. I do not believe that the worst member of 3MB is now holding the most prestigious title in WWE. Like, I don't believe that. And I still will never believe that. I don't care how many Singh brothers he has to defend him. Like, he's still, and I don't care how buff he gets in, less than 3 months. Like, he still is, to me, a joke champion, and he always will be. I would take Brock Lesnar as my WWE champion, who doesn't show up every week on Raw or SmackDown, and just comes in when he's needed to have, crazy entertaining matches where he just suplexes and, they're back and forth, beating the crap out of each other. I would take that over Jinder Mahal, beating Shinsuke Nakamura, who I thought was going to win the WWE champion at SummerSlam because it seemed obvious. And the fact that was Shinsuke Nakamura's first loss and first clean loss at the last pay-per-view, I don't buy that. I don't buy the fact that the King of Strong Style would lose to Jinder frickin' Mahal. I don't buy it, and I just don't think that he's a good champion.
See, the double-edged sword is, this is what we asked for. For years it was, John Cena's champ again. We have the same 4 champions all the time. Let's shake it up. And they were like, okay, fuck you. Here you go. We're shaking it up. Mm-hmm. And then everyone's like, that's not what we meant. We didn't mean shake it like that. So I'm going to take it because it's what I wanted. I want new people. I want new people getting championships. Is it exactly who I prefer? Absolutely not. But I love when he won that number 1 contender match. That was perfect. Land of Opportunity meant something. If they said, it's the Land of Opportunity and AJ Styles wins the number 1 contendership, it's like,
I understand.
Okay.
I understand that, and that's why I was like, he won the number 1 contendership. Wow, I didn't expect him to win because nobody expected him to win. I don't think anybody expected Jinder Mahal to become the WWE champion that night at Backlash.
I didn't.
But
actually, I felt like it was too. I figured there was no, because it was such a one-sided affair. I thought there was no way he couldn't win.
Yeah. But like I think everyone's fine with other people getting opportunities. That's why everyone loved John Cena's United States Open Challenge. They loved it when they saw guys like Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger and all these guys show up to get a shot at the United States Championship. Sure, not many of them would have won, but if they would have had that one moment where he calls out for the United States Open Challenge and someone actually beat him, there you go. There's your swerve. There's your new champion. There's your someone who you've never seen as champion. My thing is just because of the fact that I understand that people want someone new, but if a formula works, WWE is going to keep going back to it. They know how much money John Cena makes. They know how much money Randy Orton makes. They know how much money Brock Lesnar makes. Like, I can tell you right now, with Jinder Mahal as champion, I don't care if they're booking it for the Indian audience, which I don't even know for a fact if the country of India actually does like Jinder Mahal because he's not legitimately Indian.
I've heard it's not working at all.
Oh, yeah. So there's the thing. You're losing money on Jinder Mahal as WWE champion. Your experiment has failed miserably. I'm fine with saying, you know what, Jinder Mahal was WWE champion, but we need to stop it now. It has gone on for way too long. Way too long.
There is one purpose of having him as champion, though. And I'd keep him champion, and I'd have him go into WrestleMania as champion, so John Cena could beat him and become a 17-time world champion.
John Cena could beat anybody for that title shot,
I will
though.
say, when he does that, I want it to mean something more than beating... Because I know I just said I like Jinder, but I don't feel like Shinsuke should have beat him, because then it's like Shinsuke's first title is
exactly.
against Jinder.
There's your new champion.
I don't
there you
think
go.
Cena should beat him, because then it's like, well, yeah, he won, but like I want him to beat someone big. Like if he were to go against Roman again, later down the line, they bring that feud back for the championship. That would, if Cena wins that match, that means the world.
I don't know if we'll have Cena for down the line. Like, I think you need to hotshot his 17th championship, because I don't know if you'll have John Cena for next WrestleMania after this one. He's already taken less dates. For Survivor Series, your biggest draw in the company is going to be a special guest referee to Brock and Jinder. Like, really? And why else would he beat the special guest referee in that match if not to start a feud with one of them? You could argue John Cena versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title could be your Mania match. However, from everything I'm hearing, it's Roman Brock. Apparently, it's been Roman Brock since WrestleMania last year. That's why they chose Roman.
I wonder why.
That's why they wanted Roman to retire The Undertaker. So the only two guys to ever beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania could fight at WrestleMania for a title. Then Roman beats Brock, and then it's like, I beat the streak.
I'm still 100% like, no. I mean, like, the fans are not going to get behind that. I don't know if they're going to go full WrestleMania 30 and try to change their main event again. And if they, honestly, it's like, I'm just not, in terms of the WWE champion right now, and in terms of like John Cena, I agree with you that John Cena's 17th world title needs to mean something.
What could mean more than beating the Maharaja?
You know what? You've convinced me. I'm on your side now.
Just because you say the word Maharaja does not mean everything has gone away. That doesn't mean all of your arguments are suddenly invalid.
What if I put modern day in front of it?
That doesn't mean shit.
Oh man,
that doesn't mean shit. I have friends too who agree with you that Jinder Mahal, like, they love Jinder. Like, I have a friend Greg who is like, will not stop singing the praises of Jinder Mahal. But even recently, he's starting to waver a little bit more because of these like incredibly awful promos and like these garbage vignettes and stuff like that. It's like just cut it all now. And like I don't care if our next WWE champion is freaking James Ellsworth. Yeah, I will take James Ellsworth over Jinder Mahal.
I won't.
No. I will take James Ellsworth over Jinder Mahal.
I'd rather have a bag of Cheetos.
Like, you know what? Champion. If you guys can burn the show to the ground because you want Jinder Mahal as champion instead of Randy Orton, I can burn the show to the ground just the same, saying James Ellsworth should be champion. I don't actually mean that.
I mean, that's why I was saying take the belt off him for a little while, because I don't think he should be champion right now. But I'm saying he can be in the future. I think if they would have built him up more and then let him win, it would have made more sense. And I think now if they take it away, bring him back, say 7-8 months down the line,
and make him a baby
it could
face.
Be. Yes. I don't know. I'm just
have him and the Singh brothers become a rock band.
The 3-man
band.
We're on to something
We
here.
got
Hold
it here.
on.
All right, let's keep this going.
We're the 3-man Maharaja band.
All right, real quick, because I know we're coming around near towards the end of the podcast. Because on Monday Night Raw we announced some matches for Survivor Series. Because as they constantly kept saying on Raw and SmackDown, it's the only time of the year when Raw and SmackDown collide. We got the women's champions colliding with Alexa Bliss versus Natalya. We got the IC champion versus the US champion in the Miz versus Baron Corbin.
How do you book a Baron Corbin Miz match? Like, I don't know how that's gonna be. I don't know. That's gonna be.
How do you book a Jinder versus Brock match?
Well,
that's what I asked.
Well, you have Paul Heyman do it.
Yeah,
but like,
I love Paul.
What's
but...
The Miz is just an idiot, and I'm gonna beat him. And the Miz is like, you know what, Baron? I'm the Miz, and I'm gonna beat you. Like, I don't know. There's not a good enough baby face to make the Miz look dumb.
Yeah, see, I am not looking forward to that match purely because those two are my favorite on each of their shows. I love Baron Corbin. The Miz is my favorite. I think he's one of the best in the company. And exactly, there's no good way to book this match.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same character, but they're too similar. Because it's not even like either of them would care about beating the other one.
Yeah.
Baron clearly doesn't care about winning right now. He's got his title, and all he wants is to hold that title forever.
You almost would have been better off having Dillinger win the match, have Dillinger versus Miz, and then just have Baron Corbin on the SmackDown team.
Yeah. If they would have actually done it where Ty fell into the United States Championship, I think that would have been way better.
Yeah.
And if you knew you were coming up on Survivor Series and you were gonna have Raw versus SmackDown, like Seth and Dean versus the Usos, it looks like it's gonna be a great match.
So.
And that makes sense.
I think Seth and Dean versus the New Day was your money match, and I think they missed a golden opportunity.
I agree, but I still think Seth and Dean versus the Usos will be a crazy good match. And I do think, Seth and Dean versus the New Day would have been wonderful, but I think this is just a good alternative too.
What I would have liked more is sort of not a rematch of last year, but playing off last year, if the Bar was holding the championships and you could get Usos versus the Bar, because those were the final two teams in the tag team elimination match last year, where the Usos lost to Cesaro and Sheamus. And if you had both those two as champions, the match, because those are four of the most underrated performers on the roster, and if you had those four go at it, that would be incredible. I still think Usos and Shield will be great, but I think with the Shield as champs, New Day would have been the better.
Yeah, especially if you could get Roman Reigns healthy in time and just let all three members of both teams just go at it. Yeah. I think that's a Mania match-worthy match. Mm-hmm. But I've been saying I've wanted New Day Shield for forever.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I wanted to talk about, too, on Monday Night Raw was the fact that there was one specific match where the IWC caught on fire and would not stop burning. And that was Finn Balor versus Kane. Kane goes over clean over Finn Balor.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too because it's just like he just came off of an incredible match with AJ. But like basically the IWC is going crazy. And I even looked online and Dave Meltzer put out a quote saying, quote, "I've asked around and people who always defend Vince have been like, there's no explanation. There's no defense. He just whiffed."
Well, we need to make Kane look strong for Braun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a classic WWE case of we've got an older guy coming back. Put him over the hot young talent right now to make him look strong. That guy will be okay.
But he will be.
This time, I do agree. This time, I'm honestly okay with it because, it is Finn Balor. Everybody loves him. He could lose the next 30 matches in a row and then win a championship that 31st match, and no one would bat an eye.
I would almost...
You wanted Bray Wyatt to completely
I wanted Bray to squash Finn. And you know what? If you're doing Braun Kane, I think you could drag that out longer. Keep Braun off TV for a couple months. Let us want Braun Strowman back. And while he's gone, have Demon Finn versus the Devil's favorite Demon Kane. Mm-hmm. That program, I think, is a good program.
Yeah. That just made me think of something, too, because Raw has a Beast, two demons in the Devil's favorite demon and the demon Finn Balor, and two monsters, and then a cult leader in Bray Wyatt. Like, Raw has a weird roster when you think about it.
Their Halloween special is going to be incredible.
Exactly. Why didn't Halloween fall on a Monday? It falls on a Tuesday.
They really dropped the bar on that one.
That wasn't their fault. But yeah, like, honestly, other than that, like, we had Alicia Fox, who's now the Survivor Series captain for Monday Night Raw.
My girl!
Which, again,
girl!
It was shocking, but at the same time, nothing to burn the show down for because it's just a captain spot for Survivor Series. Like Sasha and Bailey will
She
beat
still beat Sasha and Bailey.
Now,
even still.
Are they gonna put Asuka on this team? I feel like you have to leave her off.
I do too.
I feel like you have to leave her on and have her decimate the SmackDown team.
You think that she should be on and be the only person to do anything?
I think she should be there. I think the entire story should be them sending people from the Raw women's team to the corner and just having the entire team beat her up to the point to where she's the only member left. And once she gets into the team, the entire team jump the rope and just beat her up. And then Asuka just single-handedly picks them off one by one.
See, I feel like in storyline reason, there's no way you cannot put Asuka in the team because it's like you'll win automatically just having her on there.
I think you can because if Alicia Fox is the captain, you can have her purposely not put Asuka on because Alicia's wanted this attention for so long. And when Asuka comes up and gets it immediately, you could have Alicia be like, well, guess what? You're not on the team. And I feel like if she's on the team, the match doesn't matter because you know what's going to happen. Like, there's no chance Asuka loses.
I mean, I agree. I agree. Like, if Alicia's just like, oh, you think you're hot shit? No, you're not on the team.
Yeah.
Then at least you know, like, people wanted her on the team, but Alicia used her abuse of power as captain to throw her off, and then there you go.
Or makes her the mascot. You'll be the team mascot.
Yeah, you'll be our cheerleader.
Yeah, and then Asuka crushes her at the paper.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too the fact that Alicia stole the Bailey to belly. I thought it was cool because you don't see many finisher steals anymore. Like when you would see like the Rock and Stone Cold trade off the Rock Bottom and the Stone Cold Stunner.
I love Alicia Fox.
Oh yeah, I think she did good. And then finally on Raw we had SmackDown going under siege on Raw, just beating up everyone. I thought this was very entertaining, but it was also crazy because like the Raw audience was booing them. So I was just like
best angle since the Festival of Friends that they've had. In my opinion.
The Festival of Friendship. Yeah,
I won't lie. Watching this, I was like, there's one guy in the back. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He's got a big beard and he's wearing a hat.
It was Rusev.
And I've never been so ashamed of myself
than
when he stood on the
Rusev?
table. Which I would argue is more of a, what the hell are you doing, SmackDown? Because I couldn't place him the whole time, and then he stood up on that table, and I'm like, oh shit.
I also thought it was awesome too because we saw Chad Gable attack Jason.
That was
first
cool.
one to hit
that was
Jason
first
Jordan.
one to go after him. I was like,
kayfabe.
yes, get it!
Running in front of everyone else to hit him.
I wish he would have said something too, like, oh, "What's up, buddy?" and just like punched him.
Oh, I loved it too. Like New Day was just like, "Hey, it's Titus and Apollo. What's up, man?" Bam.
Yeah, I like that entire angle.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset that they kind of just beat up Finn and Matt like it was nothing.
But like it's 20 guys on them, so like there's your excuse.
And I like how they had the Shield hiding in the shadows. Like, oh, if there's any two men that can take down an entire team of jobbers, besides AJ and Shinsuke, it's the Shield.
One thing I wanted to say too, because Booker T said, "I've never seen anything like this in my 26 years." I'm like, bro, you were part of the alliance. You were part of the alliance. How can you say you've never?
This.
Yeah, you were the WCW champion. How can you not say you haven't seen this?
I wish he would have been like, "This is quite the alliance they got here."
Exactly. I would have been fine if he said that, but he's like, "I've never seen this before."
Shucky ducky quack quack.
But yeah, and then real quick on SmackDown, they were like, there was a cool Under Siege chant too at SmackDown, so like that was awesome. But they were like, "We're ready. We have everything under lockdown. Nobody's getting in here." Sami Zayn interrupting, saying like, "All right, fine. You put us in a corner. Me and Kevin will lead SmackDown at Survivor Series." And he's like, "Listen, you have to beat Randy Orton to be on the team." So we get Sami Zayn fighting Randy Orton again.
And Sami lost.
Did anyone else notice they said for the first time ever Sami Zayn fights Randy Orton?
No, I didn't notice that.
They said that twice, and I'm like, that's not true at all.
Exactly. He low blowed him. He low blowed him. Randy won by low blowing. Like he got him back with the low blow. It's like we're back to Brock Lesnar, Undertaker low blowing each other. Like it's like I don't think this hurts Sami because again, it's only a Survivor Series 5-on-5. Like, I love Survivor Series, but, like, those 5-on-5 matches really don't mean as much as people think they do.
No, they don't.
So,
at least,
the
like,
fact
in
that
bragging rights, they had a trophy.
Yeah.
Here, it's just nothing happens.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they were like, you know, the winning guy
gets to take someone from the other roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like the winning team gets to pick somebody.
Yeah, gets to
or
poach
if, like,
someone.
The winning team's champion is like is the actual person who main events Mania, and then the Royal Rumble winner, like, or just do something. I guess it would kind of give it away because, like, if a Raw guy won, then we know a SmackDown guy's winning the Rumble. So maybe not that, but yeah, stealing somebody.
No, Sammy's winning the Rumble this year.
I will. Yes, let's do it now. I'm like, come on.
I hope so because I'm gonna be there, and I really want to see that live.
I want to see that. I want to see that. I don't care where I am when I see that. I
think
will.
John
I
Cena's
will.
winning the Rumble.
I will run down the street. I will just run down the street, just going da 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 da, just like skipping around with my flat cap and just go. I'm gone.
I think Cena's winning the Rumble because I'm very high on the Cena versus Jinder idea. I'm not happy about it. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's what's happening. But yeah, so after that, besides SmackDown as comparatively,
Fashion Dogs. There was Fashion Dogs. The only reason I liked Fashion Dogs because they announced they were doing Stranger things.
Yeah.
I love Stranger Things, so I'm very excited to see how they take this on, especially considering the fact that Stranger Things Season 2 comes back this weekend, in fact. So,
So we'll be.
Today's the day.
2 days.
I think all 3 of us are all 4 of us Stranger Things fans. Like,
yeah, such a good show.
So next week we'll be critiquing Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yes. Like, listen, this just became a Stranger Things podcast.
Yep.
And then we had AJ Styles versus the one Singh brother in a 2-minute squat.
Yeah,
no, that was a 40-second squat.
What a waste of time.
It was. And then Dolph Ziggler was like now talking about catchphrases, trying to do the Rock's catchphrase, and then we announced Dolph versus Bobby next week, 2 out of 3 falls. It's like, can we just turn Bobby heel now? It's over.
I mean, Bobby will be a good member of Team SmackDown, and then maybe he'll turn heel the next week. You know, who knows? But we all know Bobby Roode will be on Team SmackDown.
It's 50-50 booking though that they've already done with this angle. Like they've already got 1 win each. We got to get that second win.
So Randy and Randy's confirmed. Bobby's basically confirmed. Is there any other members announced for either teams?
Becky was announced to be besides the women's captain.
Ones.
Yeah, besides the women's one. Other than that, for both teams, I don't think anyone's been, because Kurt came out to announce his team before SmackDown went under siege. So other than that, no, they haven't.
One name I saw on Observer was Jason Jordan.
I mean, I kind of assumed that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my son Jason Jordan will be the captain of Raw.
Yeah, keep abusing your power, Kurt. It fits you.
I like it though because I think it's gonna play into the inevitable. Like, I don't need you to be successful, Dad. Like,
and then him turning heel.
Yeah,
like I feel like that's what we're building to, and we need to build to that because there's like not many Jason Jordan fans.
No, man, I'm one of them. I'm not a Jason Jordan fan, but
like,
yeah.
Other than that, like Raw and SmackDown, like Raw was definitely the more entertaining show.
Oh, absolutely.
And SmackDown, like,
kind of sucked.
Yeah, SmackDown kind of sucked this week. So Raw definitely beat SmackDown this week, and TLC was good and bad, I would say, and definitely some disagreements on the Olympic Shield
for a pay-per-view that had to be rebooked and thrown together.
Exactly.
They did a good job.
They did a good job with what they were given.
The highs were much higher than the lows were low.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I even think the TLC match at the end. You know, after rewatching the second time, I think it was okay.
I think it was,
it was
for
fun.
An overbooked TLC match where you seem to just sit back and enjoy Kurt Angle and enjoy what it was. I did enjoy it the second time.
When you watch a TLC match, you're only looking for like giant ladder spots, table spots, and people hitting each other with chairs. Yep. You're not looking for a Dave Meltzer 5-star classic with that, even though that's what we want when Kurt Angle comes into a WWE ring for the first time in 11 years. Other than that, like, we got Finn versus AJ, and I love that match. I
just
thought
wish
it was great.
We could have. I just want to see Seth, Dean, and Miz defend their titles. That's all I want.
Yeah,
we're gonna get 2 back-to-back pay-per-views.
Yeah, it was one title defense
on a
show.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, and it was
that's
the women's
crazy.
title. Yeah, that is insane. But like,
well, the cruiserweight belt too.
Oh yeah, two.
One title defended on the
poor cruiserweights. And yeah, but other than that, that was this week in Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and TLC. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Anything you want to plug?
Like Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah, come see After Hours Improv.
Oh man, that's good.
November 10th at 7:00. It'll be, I believe, Anspaw 161.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We're heading to Chicago right after for an improv tournament. So I'm not going to ask you to come see that. That's a bit of a hike. Come see our show the 10th.
And make sure you tune in next week because we are going to do an in-depth breakdown of the Ring of Honor show for the first ever Soaring Eagle Cup.
And yeah, you can follow me at SZoomer4 on Twitter, and you can follow Chad at
TheChad100.
And be sure to hit the follow button on SoundCloud and iTunes so you don't miss a single episode of this wonderful podcast, The Ringmasters. I am Austin, and you are...
I am the great Chad.
And you are...
Josh.
And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.